Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows from shows ranging from the 90s to today.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany,
And I'm Cynthia.
and today we're talking about season 6, episode 22, titled Joey Potter and Capeside Redemption, air date May 7th, 2003, and the synopsis is
As Dawson abandons his dream of becoming a filmmaker and works to pay off his credit card debt, Joey rallies everyone to help him begin production on his movie. Meanwhile, Pacey is inspired to raise the funds that are needed by going to businesses, and at one meets a crush from his past, Chrissy Livingston. As filming wraps, Jen, Jack, and Graham say goodbye to everyone as they leave for New York. Joey acts as a mediator to get Dawson and Pacey to make up while she finally achieves her dream of going to Paris.
so it opens with, doesn't it start with Joey talking?
Yep, narrating, yep.
And everybody's kind of slowly doing their thing
Mm-hmm.
with no actually script talking, but her narrating.
Right.
Um, so we saw Pacey moving out.
Yep.
I'm just gonna throw some people up there. Pacey was moving out. So did he have a month to month lease?
Maybe.
Because you have to think that because if he has a year, he still has to pay for the year.
Mm-hmm.
He can't just, I mean, you can move out, you just still have to pay.
Right.
So I'm hoping at least he had a month to month. I know he can't afford it,
Yeah.
but you still have to pay whether you're moving out or not.
Right.
And then we see Dawson coming home from work to go to sleep and go back to work,
Mm-hmm.
where he's going to eventually. But he is working at the Leary restaurant.
Yeah.
News to me.
Well, he has a credit card debt, so he has to do something.
I know, but it's not like they really they don't explain anything from last episode of this one. It sort of
Oh,
just is what it is.
yeah. Well,
This
everything.
episode, this episode felt like the finale, like they were throwing everything together
Mm-hmm.
at the very end, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
little annoying because they still have 2 episodes left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we see Pacey moving back in with Todd and Audrey's in summer school. The only
I
random thing to
am
me,
I am
yeah.
happy that Audrey went to summer school because I know that she was back and forth and iffy about it. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy to see her act because think about it, for 2 years, she did nothing to study or prepare for college or anything. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy she's putting that first.
Right.
It was nice to see.
Yeah. And then we see Joey working at a random cafe somewhere. That was the only random thing for me. Everything else made sense.
I have
But
a
then,
question.
yeah,
Since you said she's working, is she giving her money to Dawson?
maybe, probably some of it. I just don't know why she's not working at the
Hell's
B&B.
Kitchen? Oh, well,
Well, they're in Capeside now, so
Probably because her sister wouldn't pay her.
mm, I don't know.
It's
She worked in the restaurant before that.
because it's probably one of those things where, oh, you live here, so you can basically quote pay your way by working here.
Yeah, I don't know. Plus, it was Joey that started it all too, so you think that she would just be able to, go in and out of the place as she wants.
She kind of does.
Yeah.
She comes and goes.
Mm-hmm. So then we see her for the first time in a while rowing the boat on the creek to Dawson's house and up the ladder where she trips. Because apparently, like in your mid-20s, it's hard to, or wait, how old are they now? No,
20.
20. Okay, I'm skipping.
They only did 2 years of college, so 20.
Right. It just seems longer than that. But yeah, so apparently at
Well,
22,
I think too, because the actors are like 20 something. Like they're
mm-hmm,
not 20
yeah,
because it's been 6 years now. So
mm-hmm,
they're, in their mid 20s now. So it's hard
yeah,
because they're only 20 in the show.
mm-hmm. Yeah, so apparently climbing up a ladder is hard at that age, apparently, for Joey.
Well, and it's hard because she runs and like, you know, I don't know. I just would think that she would be able to climb a ladder.
Mm-hmm,
Like me, I could see tripping because like I'm a klutz like Jen, but I'm also like, because Joey has like the best figure.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think she could climb a ladder.
Yeah. Yeah, so she comes to see that Dawson's taking down his movie poster because he doesn't want to be reminded that he was going to film his movie in there with his childhood home and all the things.
Oh my God. So, how she's like kind of shocked, which I don't know really how she could be given how what was he supposed to do?
Right.
But it was okay. Dawson. Dawson cracks me up sometimes. Because he said, did you hear him though? He said, I have no money, zero, thanks to your friend and mine.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Um, Cynthia, I didn't know that Pacey and Dawson were friends.
Yeah, I guess he still considers him a friend even after the whole money loss.
I was like, friend? Now, I got where he said Joey's friend, but when
Mm-hmm.
he said and mine, I went, because at first I thought it was a dig. You know how sometimes people say your friend,
Mm-hmm.
like you better stop your friend, you better tell your friend. But but when he said and mine, I went, what? I
Right.
almost fell out of the chair because I was like, I thought you were making a dig, but then you said and mine.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting.
Yeah. So
Oh,
sorry,
oh,
Joey. Yeah.
but he did say, because she brings up Pacey.
Mm-hmm.
And he did say, I never want to see that guy for the rest of my life.
Right.
Oh my God,
After calling him a
Dawson.
friend. Yeah.
I know. You just said that you're his friend, and now you're saying, I never want to see him. Make up your
Mm-hmm.
mind. And that was all in one scene. It's not like it was throughout the day where something major happened.
Right.
It was in the same sitting, in the
Mm-hmm.
same scene, in the same, what was it? A sentence ago, he said it. It
Yeah.
was bad.
Yeah. So Joey finds the storyboards that Dawson had drawn out, and apparently she was supposed to be the artist for that. And
Oh
then she
yeah,
said
because
it,
didn't she say, I'm the artist?
yeah. Yeah, she
We
thought she was.
Cynthia, when was the last time we saw her be an artist?
Maybe when she was drawing Jack, I think.
Oh, season two
Or oh no, the wall the
mural.
wall
So that was season
or
three.
the yeah, or the wall that Pacey got her. I don't know. Can't remember what she did with that wall.
Well, the girl didn't paint nothing on the wall because
Mm.
remember Pacey wrote the words. So,
Oh,
asked
yeah,
me to
she was.
stay, but
Yeah.
she didn't. So I think the
Mm-hmm.
last time was the mural, which was season three.
Right.
What does she mean, artist?
Mm-hmm.
Past artist?
Right. Yeah, so she tells Dawson to keep the storyboards because he's gonna need them, and that's when he's like, "Did you bring $18,000 with you?" So
That's all it's going to
that's,
take.
I guess, for yeah, this film. I don't know, maybe because we're saving money with location stuff and actors, maybe.
You think you'd still have to pay them.
Right. I don't know. They were like friends and family, so I guess
And
they're just
no,
doing it for him.
but this was Joey's idea, but
Mm-hmm.
not Dawson's. Dawson's was he was going to actually hire people.
Right.
And
But like real
again,
actors.
yes, or up and coming, but you still have to pay them because it's a
Mm-hmm.
job.
Mm-hmm.
It's, but what Joey did was obviously free labor,
Yeah.
but what Dawson's idea wasn't. So when he said 18,000, I was like, that pays everybody.
Right.
Okay.
So that must be the amount of money that he lost with Pacey, I'm guessing.
So he
Or
only had 18 grand. Okay.
I guess with what he's saved in the past year or so. Yeah. Yeah. So Joey, brings up Spielberg, like, would this stop him? And Dawson says he doesn't recall anything in his bio, but his best friend, now he's saying best friend, squandering all his money. Yeah. So, she said that Pacey, messed up, but it wasn't intentional. And Dawson says
He's
it never
nothing is.
is.
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
is.
And then, Dawson's accusing Joey of taking Pacey's side. She said she's not. She loved his script and it makes everything they've been through somehow worth it. I
I'm
don't know
not
about that.
I'm not gonna lie. I did love that she stuck up for Pacey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was going to give up on his dream for good, probably.
Well, especially because last episode we saw her go after Pacey,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't see her go after Dawson.
Yeah.
So it was funny to see her stick up for Pacey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Joey refuses that this has to end this way between Dawson and Pacey. And, she doesn't believe anything Dawson's saying about how he feels about Pacey. But Dawson says they can go back and forth, but it's impossible because he doesn't believe in the script anymore. Because apparently it was a celebration of friendship, a golden era that only existed in his head. And Joey just says she's not going to let him give up and she'll be back. And then after the theme song, Joey is leading the group when it comes to their roles in making the movie with Dawson or for Dawson.
Okay, so it was funny because Audrey's going to be Miss Jacobs. And, she brings up how, she,
What?
about Pacey.
Oh, default.
I
That,
can't even, yes.
yeah,
But
robbed
it
him of
was,
his delicate flower.
yes. But it was funny because then Jen was like, well, you could be Eve. And then Audrey says, who the hell's Eve? And then Joey goes, she didn't make the cut. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
but when Jen brings it up, I'm like, Jen, that's your sister.
Right. Yeah. So doesn't know.
But it was just so funny because Audrey goes, who the hell's Eve?
Yeah. And Audrey also called Miss Jacobs the slutty teacher.
Well, she did go after a student.
Mm-hmm. But I think Predator would be more accurate. And then Jen asks about Pacey, like, what's he going to do? And Joey says that he couldn't make it, but she'll take care of that. And then that's when Joey goes to Doug's place and asks where Pacey is.
And he's on the couch
Mm-hmm.
with crumbs all over his face.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that bad until he sat up and they were all on the side of his face that he was laying
You
down
couldn't
on.
see it on the pillow.
Well, I could, but I didn't know they're on his face like that. Like, dang. Yeah, because like you would think Dawson would be kind of in that situation, because he lost everything, and Pacey's the one that's on the couch, so he feels
Who
really
lost?
bad.
Pacey lost everything too.
I know, I'm just saying
Pacey
because
put all of his
money.
earnings in
Mm-hmm.
there too. So they're
Yeah,
both screwed.
yeah, and Joey's trying to make him go and join them to make the movie, but he doesn't want to go.
I mean, yeah, usually Dawson is the mopey one, and usually Pacey's the one that's like, okay, this sucks. I'll figure something else out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did switch roles here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pacey doesn't want to go because he says he'll end up ruining everything, and they all know that.
I did like the scene between the two of them though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but did you hear him though? He said, that pretty little head of yours.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's still saying this stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like my heart.
Yeah, he's saying things will never be the same between him and Dawson.
Well, could they ever be, Cynthia? I mean, like if it was your friend that did that to you.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so then he just goes back to watching TV and she leaves. And then Joey and Audrey walk into Harley's room where
And they're
Harley,
making out.
yeah, and Joey says that she won't tell her dad unless she comes with her now. Well, both of them.
So I didn't I like watching it the second time coming around. I did not remember um Harley still in the show from here.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, Harley's still in the show.
Yeah,
That threw me off, but it makes perfect sense because who else are they going to get to play the characters?
right. The last second. And they are the right age too, so that
Yep.
helps.
Yep. They're the perfect age.
Hmm. And then at the film equipment store, Jen and Jack are there. Jen's trying to flirt with the guy about getting the equipment for free, apparently.
Oh, but then the no funny business.
Hmm. On a date
Um,
with him, yeah.
oh, but it was funny because he's like, I'm not interested in that. Then he like looks at Jack. And then
Hmm.
Jack, did you see Jack's face? He's like, no way.
Yeah.
No. And I was like, oh my God, this is so funny.
Right. Like he doesn't care for Dawson that much to do that. Yes, then Dawson gets home. Gail greets him and
Um,
just yeah.
so um, I'll go ahead and I'll step in.
Yeah, so he goes up to his room to take a nap, but then he sees Jack, Jen, Audrey, and Joey sitting around his room. and they're there to, help him. He has no excuses now. And Joey says she's, got the actors and just waiting a phone call from their director. And then
So
Aud,
did
yeah,
did you hear Jen? She said, "Are you ready to take off the dress and step up to the plate?"
yeah, I guess because he's
What
acting
is
like a girl.
take
Like,
off the I know, I
yeah,
was confused. I was like, what?
like, I don't know, like as if girls give up easily. I don't know.
Yeah. And apparently girls wear dresses like sometimes they don't.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah,
Okay,
and that's out of character for Jen to say too.
yeah. Yeah, the one who doesn't wear the dresses.
Hmm.
But okay, Gail comes in. You're
Hmm.
fired.
Right, yeah. So he can
Oh,
work because he says that, yeah, it's not the time to
another
do it.
family member firing someone on the show
Hmm.
because Bess did it to Joey.
Yeah,
But I have a thing about Gail.
yeah.
So she walks in and now she's like the supportive parent, whatever. Not too long ago, a few episodes ago, she gave Dawson this long thing of how, what's he going to do with the rest of his life? Okay, you're making a movie. How long is that going to take? Blah, blah, blah. Like asking all these tough questions, right?
Hmm.
And it didn't seem like she was supportive because she wanted him to think of like, what's he going to do next?
Yeah.
Uh, Now she's just like, well, you're broke, but here. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what? Like
Yeah.
the person that was going on and on episodes ago, as she should have, is now like, go ahead, you're broke, but you guys can all make a film. Good job. And
Hmm.
I'm like looking around like, what has Gail turned into? Don't
Hmm.
don't the writers remember when she was going on about Dawson? I would think the
Yeah.
person that would be questioning them would be Gail, since she was
Yeah.
questioning him.
Hmm. Yeah. And
Because
talking
think
about,
about like if it was our moms,
hmm.
they would have been like, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do this? Like, how are you going to pay for this? And Gail would have episodes ago. But
Hmm.
now this episode, oh, she's just a yay, 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 the little cheerleader. And I'm like, no, this doesn't fit.
Yeah, because she's talking about having a backup plan, and now she's like, "Don't forget to mention me in your speech."
Yeah. And it's like as if it's going to get off the ground.
Hmm.
As because none of his films really have gotten off the ground, clearly, because he'd have money by now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they did. So it's like,
Hmm.
what? But again, for the person that, and then to fire him, the boy still needs money, Gail.
Hmm.
Like I could see like filming probably is going to take a few weeks or whatever. So I could see giving him that time off, right?
Yeah.
But from there, he still needs to work.
Hmm.
And then if he goes to California for a week or two, to promote or whatever to try to get his movie sold,
Hmm.
then he could again take some time. His mom's a restaurant. He can come and go.
Right.
I don't know why she had to fire him. That just
Hmm.
was weird, especially from the woman who said he needed basically to get a job.
Yeah.
So that was really weird.
Hmm. Yeah. So later that day, they're filming a scene outside where George, who's playing Dawson, gets to his job at the video store. Yeah, and then Joey's making sure everything's going smoothly as possible.
Is this where she gets at it with Patrick?
Yeah, because they're learning their lines, and he's sitting next to Audrey, and he's like kind of fawning over her, and um, tries putting her arm around her again, flirting with someone that's not Harley.
Well, and Audrey's older.
Yeah.
Like, so Audrey would be going to jail. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Patrick's playing Pacey.
I did think it was funny how Joey was like kind of being the director, her like self. She
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even letting Dawson really take action. She was just doing it herself. I was like,
Yeah.
who at this point I was like, who's the director?
Yeah, I think she was just like playing his assistant, like behind the scenes, making
She
sure
was,
things are
but
going
she was
well.
doing a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then apparently, Gail has brought in food from the restaurant for craft services. So that's all for free, I guess. At the moment.
Yep.
Hmm. And then back at Doug's, he's mad that Pacey didn't make him breakfast because that's like his deal for crashing on the couch is that he cooks for him.
Oh, can I go back to that scene where I talked about how Gail should have asked more questions.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought of it. It would have been one thing if she would have, told Dawson, hey, I know I gave you a hard time a couple months ago,
Mm-hmm.
but I really think you should do this.
Right.
I think that would have been better because then we all, as the audience, could have been like, okay, she gets it.
Mm-hmm.
But for her to just do what she did, that didn't sound right. So that's what I mean. It could have been a few words like that that would have changed everything for her character.
Mm-hmm.
So they just should have done that some way like that.
Yeah. Yes, then Pacey tells Doug that he has other things to do, so he has to cook his food himself.
Oh, it was funny though, Doug. You cook for me. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what?
Yeah.
It was
And
funny.
then Pacey had to add that, Chick Stig, the guy that cooks, and then he pokes his head back in the kitchen and says the other guys like it too.
Pacey, Pacey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're filming the first scene in the movie where Pacey and Dawson meet Miss Jacobs at the video store. And their lines are almost word for word as it
Why?
was in the
How?
pilot. I
How?
know, like how can they remember the exact lines, the words? Yeah.
Okay. Eventually, Audrey wears the dress.
Mm-hmm.
How would Dawson remember the dress?
Right.
Because, first of all, he didn't call Miss Jacobs up and say, what
Mhm.
were you wearing?
Yeah.
Secondly, Pacey wasn't there to input on what she was wearing because, he might
He would
remember.
remember better. Yeah.
But Dawson, he was just sort of there that day. How would he
Mm-hmm.
remember exactly what she wore?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't even remember, but I know it was like a white summerish dress. But yeah.
I just was so thrown off because I think it was kind of the dress that she wore, but I was like,
Mm.
how would he remember that?
Yeah.
She should have just been wearing a dress. Like
Mm-hmm.
it threw me off that he was remembering everything, unless he was recording it all.
Right. Yeah. And then it was funny because they couldn't even film with the dress at first because apparently Patrick had spilled something jelly donut on the dress earlier, so they had to go get it cleaned. And Audrey was trying to film, in a robe, but it wasn't working in the shot. So
Well, and they're not a real set that
mm,
could have two dresses, one for backup.
yeah. And, Patrick, says, well, Audrey can do it without her, without the robe, because he's like that, of course.
So gross. And also, she's not your age.
Hmm. Yeah. So then, Joey has enough of it and grabs his ear or hair. It's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, so we're done with him. And then Pacey is at a dentist's office where he's speaking with the doctor about, free publicity for the office for this donation for the movie. And apparently he's asking for $200. And, that he says that he'll, give her a cameo. She gives the money, apparently. Don't know who she play unless a background character, but. And then back on set, Joey's trying to tell Dawson as he's telling Jack and how to set up the bell on the door for the next shot that about Audrey's dress. You can see it through with the light coming from the window. Apparently that's how Miss Jacobs' dress was too. And
I didn't
Audrey,
even notice.
yeah, gave consent about that, so the
Yeah, because
shot's
Joey's
fine.
like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know that? And he's like, yeah, and she does too. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't just not tell her.
Yeah, without her consent, yeah. So that was just nice that Dawson had that common sense, because some directors wouldn't.
Todd wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Then the video store owner comes barging in, asking why they're still there, because apparently they had until 2 o'clock to film.
Um, I have a thing about that.
Yeah,
Is that the same owner that owned it season one?
I don't know. We didn't even see him, right? We just saw the daughter of him that was classmate of theirs. Can't remember
So
her name.
that would be my thing is if that's because he's acting like he's kind of the same, like he kind of is acting like he's been there for a while.
Hmm.
And if he's the same owner, Dawson worked there
Yeah.
for how long? So it's just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's a small town, so it's not like he wouldn't know his employees, right?
Hmm.
So it threw me off because I'm like, wasn't Dawson your employee? It threw me off. And, because I feel like Dawson could have a foot in the door, given that he worked there and, to his boss, to his former
Mm-hmm.
boss.
Mm-hmm.
But to just, I don't know, it didn't seem like Dawson worked there with this guy
Mm-hmm.
when that's why I was like, is that the same owner? Is he different? Because it's just, he's acting like he's been there, but yet he's not acting like Dawson and him are that close where, he paid him
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. It just was
Yeah.
weird. I was like, it threw me off because he didn't even know Dawson. That's why I was like, but if he worked there, you would know him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least know
Yeah.
his name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then
Um,
Doug, yeah.
well, I do get where the owner's coming from. Like, I didn't like how
Mm-hmm.
he was doing it. I think
Yeah.
there could have been a softer tone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but because I get it, it's Friday night, people rent. I didn't like when they said videos because I always said movies. I don't know what you said. Did you say
Yeah. Maybe both. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. So it was just weird because they're both like videos, and I was like, oh, when he said that, I said movies, but
Mm-hmm.
um, but anyway, I get it. It's Friday night. Everybody is going to rent. I get it because that's what you did back in the day. But um, also there could have been he should have said it nicer. And I also get it too because they're not paying him, are they?
I don't know. That's a good question.
So I
Unless
mean,
it's the publicity thing again.
because again, if they're not get if your business is not getting paid,
Mm-hmm.
I want you out too because I want customers that will pay me.
Yeah.
So I get where he's coming from that is like, I'm gonna make a whole ton of money tonight, so you need to get out. So I get that part.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just feel like there could have been a softer tone. But I did love when Todd walks in, but Doug
Mm-hmm.
walks in first and he was like, "Oh, good, an officer."
Yeah. Because apparently Doug was blocking the street outside too, but he can't because traffic's gonna get busy.
Well, it's Friday night.
Yeah, and then Doug distracts the owner, so Dawson says they have to shoot quickly while they can. And then Dawson says if that doesn't work, then they can do bribery, even though Joey says they don't have any money. Yeah, so apparently they didn't pay him. I think it was just free publicity that they used.
Yeah, then they need to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so Todd
And
walks in.
yeah.
And then apparently Gail sent him the script, and apparently it was so good that Todd wants to be a part of it, which is so weird. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because again, nothing Dawson writes is good. But
Right.
especially if it's about him and Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Boring. Um,
I was just surprised
so
that Gail was able to do that. Email it to him, like, 'cause she would have to scan it. And because my mom doesn't know how to scan things. So, and then email. So I'm just
yeah,
surprised she was able to do that.
but Gail has a restaurant, so she probably has to do paperwork and stuff like that.
Yeah. It just seemed advanced to me. And just like a lot of pages she would have to do too.
Well, she probably asked the manager at her restaurant how to do it,
Right.
or Joey probably did it.
Hmm. Yeah. And it
Okay,
took Todd 2 days to download it.
so when Todd comes in and he's talking about gotta get the show, gotta get the movie going, blah blah blah. So when he's going on and then he's about to finish, um, there's this woman that walks in, and I was like, I thought the store's closed.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Because it's not like he said action, so the woman is walking in.
Hmm.
It was weird how he's talking, and then this woman walks in, and I was like, well, but if they're closed, why is she walking in?
Right.
It made no sense. It threw me off.
Hmm.
Um, and then before that, oh, so yeah,
Todd.
that was it for me. No.
Oh, well, Todd also called Gail to Dawson, your sexy mom email to it. So I couldn't, refuse the offer or whatever. So he's just bold to say that in front of Dawson.
Hello. Remember when he was hitting on her in front of everyone at Christmas?
Yeah, no, I just didn't think he would still be doing that.
It's Todd. I don't think he'll ever change. I
Hmm.
think he'll be the 90-year-old that still does it.
Hmm. Yeah, so Todd, is up for doing whatever he needs to do to help Dawson. So I was surprised about that. Like he was willing to do any like camera work, whatever, and not just like assistant director or something. So that was nice of him. And then, but he says he wants his espresso, and Joey, ends up getting it because she's the only one that's kind of like doing the background things, like I said before. And then it was
Well,
funny because
at first it was
Audrey,
funny because it was like a big pause and everyone's like kind of just
looking
standing
at
there. And
her,
Joey goes,
hmm
"All right, I'll go." It's like, well, who else was gonna go, Joey? No one was moving.
right? And then Audrey tries to tell Joey her coffee order before she walks out, but Joey tells her to not even think about it. And then later on, Joey's talking to Todd about his superstition about eating steamed broccoli every day to keep him alive forever. Yeah, so she has to get that for him. And it's just funny that he said live forever and then he takes a drag of a cigarette and coughs. Like that's not
Hmm.
gonna help any better.
Well, he had one good thing and one bad thing.
hmm And then he checks out Joey as she leaves too. I noticed that. And then we just see a quick clip of Pacey running to another business to get money for the film. And then Dawson's talking to Harley, who doesn't want to do this next scene, recreating the time Dawson was making that movie about the
That god awful movie.
the sea monster or whatever. She doesn't like get in the water because apparently she can't swim. That's what Patrick tells Dawson when she
I
refuses.
really hope Dawson does it better than he did in his so-called movie then, because it was sucked. Remember, it didn't even look like a sea
hmm
creature.
Right. And then the killing was very unrealistic.
Hmm.
And then Joey ends up making Audrey be the assistant to Todd, giving her the broccoli because she was just sunbathing because she was done for the day.
Oh, so this is where Audrey says it. She said, I rapped for the day. Can't you find someone that's not number one on the call sheet?
Right.
I was like, you really think there's like a big call sheet? I'm saying for Dawson's movie.
hmm
It's literally all of you coming together to make a movie. I don't think you're, and plus I don't think you're number one on the call sheet.
Yeah, definitely.
Usually it's like the person that's in the most scenes,
Yeah,
I
the
feel
main
like.
characters. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Miss Jacobs was far from the main character.
hmm Yeah, she probably already did all her filming already in just one day.
Yeah, there wasn't much.
hmm And then we see Pacey get kicked out of a restaurant and the owner chases him off when he tries grabbing food off of a table that's occupied with customers. I was surprised about that. And then the film crew is filming the scene with Harley, who's playing Joey, getting attacked by the monster with the real Joey, splashing water on her, which kind of looks silly from that angle. And then Pacey gets kicked out of another place, so he's not doing well. And then this scene was interesting because Joey's helping Harley fix her hair after getting out of the water. And the way they talk about the characters in first person was throwing me off. But she said, are you sure I'm not a lesbian? Like her character, not her actually, like Harley herself. So I don't know why she said it like that. You know what I mean?
Well,
Because
because she talking
apparently,
about herself.
yeah, because from the script, Harley is assuming that Joey just liked Jen and that's why she hated her so much, hated her. And then she acts like, why would she want to hang out with this asexual film dork instead of going to France? Again, Joey's character, not Harley. So it just kind of confusing how they did that. But I was
Why?
surprised just because it's mixing the characters like from the fictional characters in the show itself. So just
Yeah,
kind of
but in real
blurring the
life, I
lines.
would be like, well, why would my character blah 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 be doing that? Like, I'd
Yeah, well,
be
she's not saying
asking,
that. She's saying me. Like, why would I not go to Paris? She's talking first person, not third person. That's what's confusing me.
yeah, but she's talking. I think that's probably what they do because they take their character as if it's their own while they're there that day. So they're like, why would I would never say this? I would never,
hmm I
no.
mean, I've seen that behind the scenes, but really rarely. Um, but yeah, I was surprised they used the word asexual to describe Dawson because I didn't think of that. But he didn't have sex until after high school, but still. Um, yeah, and then Joey's just explained that her character's not ready to go to France and that she just had a sucky childhood and has some growing up to do. And then Harley brings up that the gay guy must not have been a good kisser, meaning Jack. And, Joey's like, you're not listening to a word I'm even saying about her character. And then Pacey is talking to the owner of another restaurant. He leaves to get change when there's a woman from the dentist's office from earlier, and it turns out to be Christy
Well, I love how he
from,
didn't even know who she was. And she was like, well, you know, you used to follow me around. And he's still like, no, I'm not
mhm.
getting it. And then she finally said who she was. And I was like, rolling my eyes. I was like,
Yeah, and then the owner, had to even confirm it with him, and then
I
he
have a
goes after her.
question.
Yeah,
Is that the same actress?
I don't know. I was wondering that. I just forgot to look it up.
Because I'm gonna lie, it didn't look like the same one.
Right? Yeah, very sure it didn't because I was getting her and Busy mixed up because they kind of look similar, at least to me. So I don't know. Yeah, so I looked up the actresses and they are different ones. The first season or first one was played by Allie Larter. And this
Yeah,
one is,
that's who I thought it was. That's why I was like, I thought Allie was playing this, and now there's some girl I don't recognize.
yeah, her name is Nicole Steinwedel, I think. That's how you say it. Yeah, so
I wish
two
they wrote
com
about Allie because then I would have recognized her. I didn't recognize.
mm-hmm,
That's why I was like, who? Especially
mm-hmm,
when he said Christy, I was like, but that's not Allie.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
I hate when they do that,
right.
especially because for Pacey, that was a big thing that he loved Christy.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wish they would have brought her back.
He loved her. I thought he only had a crush on her.
Well, yeah, but you know, when you're that age, you're like, oh, I'm in love with that person.
No,
When you
I
really,
wasn't.
when it's really only a crush.
No, I wasn't like that, but yeah.
No, a
And
lot of
then
people are.
Jen finds Grams outside the house, Dawson's, I believe. And yeah, Dawson's. And Graham says it's nice seeing the children back together again, having one last fun day in Capeside.
Well, I did think it was funny because she's sitting there. I don't know how Gail can look at those curtains or whatever else.
Mhm.
And Jen
Yeah.
goes, I'll alert the, what was it?
I didn't write that down. I think it was,
Wardrobe or
yeah.
fashion police or something.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not gonna lie, it would be hard to go back and sit next door to the house that you raised your, kid in and your grandkid and where your
Yeah.
husband died. Like it would be
Right.
so hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I did like that she said she misses it, but she doesn't regret moving.
Right.
Because at first, when she said it, I was like, see, she shouldn't have moved. But then she said she doesn't regret it. So I was like, okay, that's better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, Graham says that, they're moving to Jen says that they're only moving to New York. It's not like they're, and then that's when Graham finishes Jen's sentence by saying with dying, that's not what she's gonna do, and they're just beginning another chapter in their lives together. A very long chapter.
Let's hope so.
Hmm. And then Grams and Jen hug Dawson when he walks up, or no, Grams and Jen hug, and that's when Dawson walks up and he came to tell them that they're in his shot, so they need to move.
Well, it was
And
funny
the,
because they're like, oh, is the cab here? And he goes, no, you're in my shot. And it's like,
right?
okay, we'll move.
Mm-hmm. They all hug. And
But
then
then the cab does show up.
yep. So they're all saying goodbye. And
It's a very long, like 5 minutes of them all saying goodbye.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
As if this is the real finale. Like, I wish the hug like that would have been in the finale just because,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying it's not going to be, but I'm just saying like that would have been a finale shot.
Yeah.
Should be.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be what is it, 3 episodes or 2 episodes before the finale.
Yeah.
I just didn't like that because it's like a waste of the episode. I feel like, again, it's all filler stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I wish Pacey had been there to say goodbye, but he was with Christy. And before they leave, Jen looks over at Harley and Patrick and George who are messing around on the pier, and she's probably thinking how that was her and Dawson and Joey and Pacey not that long ago.
Mhm. But it was funny because like when they're still by the cab, like just waving and stuff, and Audrey goes, they're really never gonna leave, are they?
Right,
That's
yeah.
funny.
Because they keep waving you.
But why is Audrey there? Like, shouldn't she be in Boston doing homeschool or doing summer school?
Maybe she's done. I don't know. Or it's a weekend, maybe. But
No, it's Friday, so I don't know, I guess summer school isn't on
oh,
Fridays.
yeah, maybe. And then she, wanted to help with the movie. So, and then the next scene is with,
So then her priorities really aren't in order.
hmm and then the next scene is Pacey at the bar with Christy and, telling her all the things he's been doing since high school.
So I didn't like when they were talking, and she then said, she said, "You should call me."
Hmm
Why?
Because she knows that he liked her and probably still does.
Cynthia.
But
No, I do not want Pacey to call her. And it's not because I want Pacey with Joey. It's this is how I feel. Um, you didn't like the person back then.
didn't they kiss?
Okay, but
And
she
that's what,
didn't.
hmm
She didn't give him a time of day.
well, they did after, or she did after they were talking for a while at the
Yeah, and then it
dance.
all ended.
Hmm
That was it. But what I'm saying is she knew he liked her. She didn't care. She was too into like being popular and whatever. And my thing is, um, you shouldn't, I don't want anyone to like go back to that person that didn't give him the time of day back then. Like I
hmm
wouldn't do it. People that I used to like, there's no way I would give him a time of day now. Because
Didn't,
why now? Do you know what I mean?
well, he's single now. And I think it only ended because that's when Andy saw them together and that's when he went after Andy. So
Yes,
it's kind of like he ended things.
but nothing was ever going to happen because they weren't in the popularity level.
Hmm
Like Christy wasn't that person. And what I'm saying is, I just would not give that person a time of day. And I don't
Yeah.
want him to, just because you would, Cynthia, doesn't mean I would. And I don't want Pacey to either.
We never know. She could have changed since then.
I don't care. Didn't like the
Okay.
person you were. Like, I would always just remember that person.
Mm.
I just don't want him to go back to Christy. Like, why her? Does she like have some level up that any other girl doesn't? Do you know what I
But,
mean?
hmm
That's why I liked when Joey walked in.
hmm And Joey says that she knows that Christy is a metaphor and she represents all of the high school girls that Pacey thought he would never be able to be with, but because he was such a loser. And then adds that the normal girls who haven't surgically been enhanced, like her, Jen, Audrey, and Andy, the fact that they've spent every second of the past 5 years telling him he's not a loser, that means nothing to him. And Pacey says he got lost in the middle of that.
But
And
that's what I'm
then,
saying with stick to the girls that aren't Christy.
mhm, yeah, so Joey's there for order for everybody. And then that's when
Um,
Pacey asks what's going on with the movie without actually saying it.
well, I did like when he passes her or gives her the envelope, and then she was like, "Oh, what's this?" And he was like, it's the money." But then she passes it back because he was like,
Hmm
"Hey, can you give this to Dawson?" And she was like, "No." Like
hmm
you remember, I'm not like you're right. I'm not a part of this.
hmm
This isn't my fight, so you do it. And I like that she
Right.
did that. But it was funny because Pacey said, after all these years, you're gonna wash your hands of the both of us.
hmm And then back on the movie
But did you
set.
see when she was leaving, he had the biggest smile on his face.
hmm And then filming the movie, they're filming the scene from the pilot episode where Joey and Dawson agreed that nothing would change between them as they get older. And Dawson yells cut for the day
Did you hear Todd?
when he said what?
And then he said, "You little bugger."
Hmm
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. And
But
Dawson told,
then Audrey and Todd.
hmm
Well, so Audrey said, because he said something. And then she said, "Did you just call me a hooker?" And he said, in a good way.
yeah, he said that she's a saucy one, a tart.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but versus nobody, that's, you know,
That's why I was
compliment.
like, I don't think there's a good way.
Hmm
You could just say she's beautiful.
hmm Yeah, and then Todd tells Audrey that he could use a back rub and for her to see what it's like to lay her hands on a real director. And that's
Okay.
when Audrey tells Todd that Dawson was right. He is a ignorant little bastard, and Todd says he's just misunderstood, and that he eventually will find a bird that's going to find him charming.
Yeah, okay.
But Audrey just laughs and does rub his shoulders after all. And
Did you like
yeah,
that?
no, because he
Me
said that
either.
she's too good at it and makes him want to invite a bird to his room for a nightcap.
That was the thing. He took it too far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first of all, you basically made her rub your shoulders. Then you had the nerve to make the comment of taking her back to the room. It's like,
Mm-hmm. And speaking of room, they're in Dawson's house. So the room or Gail's house, the room that they go into, I think might have been hers because they were in Dawson's room from filming. So what other
I
bedroom is
guess,
there
oh, maybe the
besides for
hotel.
Gail's? Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that I'm surprised Dawson didn't stop them because he saw them go into the room, knowing what they're going to do. And he just smiles and keeps walking back to his room. And then that's when Joey walks in and
I'm
congratulates him about
surprised. I'm
today.
surprised Todd didn't. I mean, I guess maybe Todd was drunk too, but the last time Todd and Audrey were together was when she had her outburst and ran into the house. So I'm surprised he didn't bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
Like most, like everyone in the show kind of just brushed it off. But I feel like Todd, who says everything that's on his mind, I feel like he would be the one to just be like, hey, you're the one that, ran the car through the, or ran the car through the house. Like, I just feel like he would say something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or, hey, you got wasted. Like, there's just be something that he would have said that would have been like, really? Because he's always saying this inappropriate stuff. That would just been another thing for him to say. I was
Mm-hmm.
like waiting for it, and then he didn't say it. And I was like, dang, that'd have been a good thing because that's his character.
Right.
A lot of
And
missed
then
opportunities for some words on this show.
mm-hmm. And then Dawson tells Joey to spend the night, and she calls it life imitating art, imitating life in the movie. And he just says he's tired and it's okay if she doesn't want to, and says it's just a little
Well,
weird.
she
Yeah.
asks what his film's about.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about basically, it's about her apparently. And then he was saying what she could have wanted. And I was like, what is it that she could have wanted? I don't get it. Because Joey had everything she wanted. Was he talking about himself? Like, that's all I could think of. But she didn't want
Mm.
Dawson. So,
When she was younger, she did because he said when she was 15.
yeah, but then when she got him, she cheated on him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I didn't understand was she ended up getting him and she could have kept him, but she pushed him away. So I didn't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I
but
just
then
didn't know why.
Dawson, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I was saying he called them sleeping together in the same bed a little weird and somewhat dangerous, but I don't know why he said dangerous because it's not like they're gonna sleep together, like
No,
have sex together.
and they already did that.
Mm-hmm. And it was his idea, so I don't know why he brought that up. But yeah, they stared at each other for a while until, you know, we talk about the movie and what she would want, like you said. And then he says he doesn't want to close his eyes because he's afraid that when he opens them, she won't be there anymore.
And she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So
But,
when he wakes up
mm-hmm.
and he wakes up to
You
apparently
know,
a note from her,
mm-hmm.
um, I mean, it was just kind of funny because she, basically saying like, "Oh, you won't wake up to nobody," and then he does. That was funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
But
then
did you know what that note was gonna say?
no, because we don't see it, but it did
No, but
make him smile.
you know what it eventually did. It brought him to that place
Oh.
with Pacey.
Mm. And then yeah, so apparently Joey's out getting chocolate. The clock says 4:45. So I guess that's the afternoon now, like the whole days or half the days gone by already. I'm not sure. And Dawson is out by the oh yeah, yeah, Dawson's out by the place where he tried to kiss Jen and where he accidentally made that sex tape of Pacey and Miss Jacobs, and then Pacey shows up because Joey had set them up to make up, and Dawson said it's not going to happen. And
Oh, but it was funny because when Dawson's like, "Oh, Joey's not coming," so and he looks at his watch though. It was funny, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna leave and stuff," and then that's when Pacey like eventually started talking, and I was happy that he did because Dawson was literally gonna leave.
hmm
And then it was funny because like um but it was weird because Pacey said, "I don't really regret a single second I spent with her." Well, I hope
hmm
not. You know what I mean?
hmm
And I hope not for either one of them.
hmm
So, but yeah, when he said it, I was like, "What?" But Pacey did say like we both love the same woman. It's like, oh my God, how many times are we gonna have to hear that?
Yeah, because apparently that's the only thing that ties them together still.
Apparently that's it.
hmm
But also, again, this is also why they probably can't be friends either because of it. It's the same reason
hmm
why Jen and Joey couldn't be friends because of Dawson, because
hmm
they liked the same person. Well, it must be the same thing with these two because neither
hmm
one of them are going to really let it go. And the thing is, Dawson or Pacey did let it go when he found out that Joey and Dawson were somewhat trying to get together and stuff.
hmm
He just like smiled and he didn't like, he wasn't negative about it. He was just like, okay. But Dawson,
Wasn't
on the
that
other hand,
wasn't he with Aud? Yeah, he was with Audrey
no,
still, wasn't
no,
he?
he wasn't. This is at the beginning of season 5.
Oh,
It
okay.
was right before it was at Mitch's funeral that Pacey found out that they were spending time together.
Oh, okay.
And he just kind of like he made a smile on his face and he was just
hmm
like, ah, like I get it. And
hmm
but again, he would be the one that'd be okay with them being together.
hmm
Dawson, on the other hand, isn't that person. So I'm actually surprised, or I'm actually happy that they didn't say, well, we've been spending all these months together
hmm
because Dawson would have been like, what? Like this ruins everything. Like he did in season 3.
Right.
So I am
And
glad he
then
doesn't know that part.
yeah, and Pacey, said that he considers them lucky that a woman like Joey would give either one of them the time of day. And Dawson says it makes sense why it never worked out for either one of them. All he wanted was her so much that it destroyed their friendship. And in the end,
Well, and all she wanted was them to be friends.
yeah, and Dawson doesn't know if that's possible. Well, I mean, he thinks about it, then he says anything's possible. And then that's when Pacey hands Dawson the money and explains how he got it. And Dawson says thank you. So he is making it up to him because he didn't like refuse the money. So at least there's that.
Yeah,
And then,
Dawson's like, you owe me money.
hmm and then they're filming the next scene for the movie with Harley rowing the boat, and Dawson yells, "That's a wrap." And then Joey's narrating again about being afraid of so many things she's never grown up from that, and that she'd be trapped in the same place for all eternity, that her dreams would forever be shy of her reach. And then that's when we see Jen and Jack walking in New York together. And then Joy continues, seeing that time plays tricks on you. One day you're dreaming, the next your dream has become your reality. And we see Joey walk out of a cafe, and she made it to Paris after all.
After all these years.
And
And
then this
after
did kind of,
how many times of hearing about it?
yeah. And this did feel like a finale too when she says that, her friends made her who she is, and that, she'll always carry them wherever she goes, and that her love for them will only grow.
This whole ending was like the finale because
Mhm. Yeah,
it kind of like
season.
showed where everybody is or whatever. And that's
hmm
normally what finales of shows do. They show where all the characters are.
hmm
So it's just weird that again, this felt like the finale episode.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Joey has been walking around and exploring the city with her, seeing the Eiffel Tower that you can tell is obviously a very bad, low quality green screen. You can tell she's
This whole
definitely not in
thing,
Paris.
this whole thing, you could tell she was,
hmm
it was definitely not Paris.
Yeah, and she ends the episode the same way she started it by saying that she can't remember if this is exactly how it happened, but it's how it felt. And then it fades with her standing behind a badly edited green screen like that in Paris.
Hmm. So, my high. Libby Dawson finally got his annoying movie made,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
Joey finally got to go to Paris. My
Hmm.
low would be too much wasted time in the episode of them hugging and feeling like the finale.
Hmm.
What's yours?
My high was when Joey was the one that made it all possible for the movie to be made by gathering everybody up. And if we chose a second one, I would choose Pacey kind of making things up to Dawson by giving him the money, like that's a start to go somewhere. And then the low would probably I don't know, nothing really that bad happened. Um, I guess I would say I didn't like the way Patrick was acting with Audrey when they were filming, when he's supposed to still be with Harley. And then rating,
7.
yeah, 7 too.
And who's your best and worst?
Best is Joey because, like I said, she's the reason why the movie became possible again because she did everything like that behind the scenes and gathering everybody up. Um, and then the worst, again, was hard to say, but I guess the video store owner, I don't know. He didn't really do anything bad, but I don't know. He did kind of stop things for a minute. I don't know. I guess it was hard. I mean, Tal was bad too with Audrey and all that, but he did end up with sleeping with him. I don't know. And yours?
So for me, the best was Joey.
Mm-hmm.
The worst was Christy. Why is she back? Well, and it's not even the same actress.
I guess so much time went by. Maybe she was doing something else and couldn't come back for this episode.
I know, but I still didn't need her character to come back.
Mm.
Like, why? For
Mm-hmm.
what? Also, she
Right.
can say to Pacey, call me. No, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the next episode?
I was just looking up that actress really quick. Around this time, she was in the Final Destination 2 movie. So maybe that's why she couldn't come back. I don't know. Um, unless I came out after this. But the next episode, episode 23, all good things.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Yep, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would appreciate it.